Good morning, everybody. This is Stephen Pugh of the Home Bible College. I want to give another video. This is going to be the beginning video of a whole series based on the subject of the King James Bible. Now, in England, we don't call it the King James Bible. We call it the Authorized Version. We call it the Authorized Version, the Authorized Version of King James, which was finally printed in 1611. Now I'm going to be referring to a number of books to help me in this little series. The first one I'm going to introduce you to is by Alistair McGrath. It's called In the Beginning. And this very kindly was purchased for me by my daughter Esther because my previous copy I'd lost. So this is the story of the King James Bible and how it changed a nation, a language and a culture. Now, Alistair McGrath, let me explain who he is. Alistair McGrath is the Professor of Historical Theology at the University of Oxford. He's Principal of Wycliffe College, Oxford, and he is a leading authority on the history of Christian thought, especially in the 16th and 17th centuries, and is the author of many studies in this field. So that's the first book. The second book I want to say that I'm going to be referring to is this one. This is a facsimile copy of the original He Bible. In 1611, there were, I think it was 1611, there were two prints of this book, and you can see what it's like. This is actually quite a small version. It was actually a little bit bigger. That's all, just a little bit bigger. It was a book that was produced by many different printers, and it compiled all in secret pretty well together, and I've got an actual facsimile copy. So when I turn to the first page, this is what you see on the first page, and I can find the first page. There we are. That's what it said, and that's what it was on the very first page of the King James Bible. And when you go into the book itself, you'll discover all the original. It was printed in Gothic printing. It was printed by the King's publishers, and we're going to be referring to that a great deal. It's virtually impossible to read it. With a lot of practice, you'd be able to read it, but a lot of the word, a lot of the text, a lot of the words are very different. I'm going to be referring to another book, which for some reason I can't put my hand on for a moment. But there's a very famous English historian who wrote an extensive book on the King James Version, and I'm going to be quoting all of them. All of these books I'm going to be quoting, and I'm also finally going to be going through what's called the preface to the King James Bible. Now, the translators, as they call themselves, they were more really revisers than anything, but the translators wrote a preface to the King James Bible, and I'm going to be reading through that and making comments about what they thought about the translation that they had just made. That's very important. If we can get it directly from the horse's mouth, exactly what they thought about their own translation, that's going to be exceptionally interesting. Now, I have a challenge for you, and I'm going to answer this question when we get into our next video. The challenge is very simply this, is how many words are there in the first verse of the New Testament? Now, how many words are there in the King James Bible? I'm not going to tell you how many words there are. You can go and get your King James Bible and open it up and count the words. And however many words you discover, if you want to put a little notice below the video saying how many words there are in that first verse, then we'll try and think of a way of sending a prize to those that have the correct answer. So here we are then. We've started this series. It's going to be, I don't know how long it's going to be. It might be quite long, actually. It might be quite a long little series of videos, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to going through it nice and slowly enough so that we can examine all the issues and we can determine in our mind exactly what the Authorized Version is all about. So we look forward to catching up with you on our next video, the second in the series, and we wish you every blessing. Bye for now.